Well, hello, happy Friday. Yay! Isn't it great? It's Friday. We are ready to launch into the weekend and get things going. So I'm really excited to have everybody here. And once we start getting some folks in, we'll start in on Q&A because Fridays are all about Q&A. But I've got a bunch of other stuff too that I want to share with you just because, I don't think it's oversharing when you talk about things that are near and dear to your heart. Do you? No, we are not oversharing. Hello, Sue and Lisa. Hi, guys. Come on in. Come on in. Bring your friends. Let's have a good time. Melissa, Sherry, so good to see everybody. Come on in. It's Friday. Are you ready for a good Friday? I am. It's a fantastic Friday. Today we're going to talk about, of course, our Q&As. I've got your questions right here. But we're also going to talk about the concept of being fail-safe. And I think you're going to really like this. Because, at the beginning I was thinking, going into the weekend can be a place of where there's tripwires everywhere and it's a big minefield because you're usually out of your routine. This is the weekend off. And so people have a tendency to maybe go off the rails a little bit. And last weekend when we were just finishing up the sprint, I was really worried about everybody. All of a sudden we had all this movement and all these chit chat and all this other kind of stuff going on in the sprint group. And then it was gone, like, where'd y'all go? But it's the weekend and I understand how that happens. So I have a couple of things that I want to talk to you about because I think the weekends, the weekends can be a problem and I want to make sure that they're not for you, okay? And I've got some ideas on how we can put this together, okay? Cool. So are you sharing this with your friends? I sure hope so, because when you share, you care, number one. And when you share, we give away books. And Kimmy was our big winner last time. Guess what, you guys? This is the last book. What do you think I should do after? Anybody have any ideas on giveaways? I love giving stuff away because I like to drop little things into your life that are going to make your life better, that are going to help you to do the things that you need to be doing at your home. I've got more books that we can send. I've got, maybe I'll give out a saving dinner answers subscription. That might be something I could do. Lisa lost 3 pounds this week. She's a sprinter. That's what happens when you sprint. We've had some amazing stories, and we've had. I just had one of our hot melters. She has moved from being a sprinter to a hot melter. Just shared with me some more weight loss, and that she's got normal A1Cs now. I mean, come on, is that not the best thing ever? This is what we want. So when I see people having this kind of stuff happen, it's because they're staying with the program. What are they doing? If you ask, well, they never succeeded at anything until they worked for it. This is the truth. Estee Lauder was a maverick in her day. She was a maverick. She started back when she was doing all of this. It was a man's world, but it didn't stop her. It didn't make her say, oh my goodness, I just can't do it. I'm just this petite, frail little woman. No, she was like, I'm a boss. I'm going to take this on. And that's who you can be when you flip that switch. We talked about our switch flipping. And we'll talk about this too. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get to the questions. And then I'm going to go to just a little bit of teaching. I want to teach you on how to become fail-safe. This is a great word because this is a word that it's not about perfection. It's not about being fail-proof. The only fail-proof people that I know of, you can read about them in a Bible, Fail-proof is not something that's allotted to human beings. It's just not. But being fail-safe, that's a whole entirely different thing. And we want to be fail-safe. We want to set ourselves up for success, not set ourselves up for failure. And Brenda, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. You who share, and when I gave this book this week, I should say, to Kimmy, I was just absolutely humbled by her sweet comments. She shared it. She talked about it. She shared a NutriCoach ad that she found on Facebook even. And, let me just say this. When we're here to help. Marla and I are, we call ourselves the 1-2 punch because we are all about get your house cleaned up, take care of your personal self as well. This is what we do, right? But when you are taking it on and you're really understanding the message and you're in our corner, we are in yours. And we are so in your corner. We're here to help. We're here to support. We've got your back. And anything that we can do to help you be successful, we'll do it. We've both spent hours in our sprint group and in our hot melt diet group. And the reason that we do that and get on these Facebook lives every single day is because we want to help you. We want to make sure that you have the tools, you have the encouragement, that you're not falling down through the cracks. No one gets left behind on our watch. I promise you. That's how we are. That's how we feel about this. We talk about you as if you're part of our family because you are. We love you, And sometimes love is a little bit tough. There's sometimes a little tough love needs to come into it. We need to pull you in and rein you in. But at the end of the day, the whole thing is, it's about you. And so that's what we are doing right now in this whole thing, is bringing you along. Some of this is a journey that we're taking with you. We're not just talking from ivory towers or whatever. Marla's not sitting there in a hoarder's mess of a house, telling you to go get your house cleaned up. And I'm not sitting here, with a bowl of chocolate ice cream in front of me. I'm sitting here walking my talk, telling you about my failure along the way because I have had failure along the way, and sharing my heart with you. Yeah, we put our heart and soul into it. Of course we do. Because this is our heart. You are the people we care about. We have created this amazing circle of sisters, And I'm sure there's some fly guys around here, but what I see are sisters right now. So that said, we're going to keep going forward. And, I time, just so you know, this is how pedantic I am about all of this stuff. I time everything. I have to go to the bank today and sign some papers and do some things. And, as soon as this show is over, I'm out of the door, going to the bank. Marla and I bank at the same bank, going to go see the folks at First Citizens, go down there, do my work, do a deposit, do all the things that I need to do, and get back here because you know what's happening at 3:00? Tea time. I won't miss it. And you know what happens when you have that kind of a routine where you don't miss the things and you're doing the things and you've got all this application in your life? Things change. Things change. Everything shifts. Your glasses, your view of the world changes. And therefore your actions change. How exciting is that? That's what I want in my life. I want things to shift. There are certain things that I want to see shifting. And I have to be patient, and I have to, Marla called it today like going on a treasure hunt or, a puzzle, finding out what the pieces of the puzzle are. You guys, I don't know about this hair stuff. It's driving me crazy. But, I've been told to wear my hair down, and here it is sitting here. It's a blanket. It's hot. And it's been freezing here. I'm looking for my ponytail holder. I won't do it, but okay. Just letting you know. That's my little Achilles heel. It's hair. But anyway, so we're going to get to the Q&A, and we're going to talk about some other things, and we're going to talk about becoming fail-safe so that when you come up on the weekends, you've got on your weekend glasses and you know exactly what to do, how to do it, and not just completely fall off the rail. Okay? So here it is. First question. This is from Carrie from Arizona. Carrie says, I have a question I'm very excited to ask a nutritionist who researches. First of all, thank you for all that you and Fly Lady do. It's so helpful for everyday moments. I'll quickly introduce myself and keep it short. I'm a 21-year-old and have been a teacher. I struggle with a lot of anxiety and depression. It's forced me to stop being a teacher, too stressful, and now I'm training to be a vision therapist. God is still good. Amen. Talking with my doctor about my depression and anxiety and struggle, she suggested that I quit all dairy. She says that dairy products originally come from pregnant cows and goats, and their hormones remain in the milk. Actually, they come from lactating animals. Okay. Since I'm sensitive to this, it can affect my mental condition because it's what I eat. And I eat a lot of dairy products for protein. I'm underweight because of symptoms. Drank milk with my night meds, and drink creamer in my coffee. I just wondered if you could tell me more about these effects and if I really need to go dairy free. And thank you for all the bright positive things you do for us, Carrie. Okay, so let's talk about milk. First of all, milk comes from lactating animals, okay? Not pregnant animals, lactating animals. After they give birth, they get milk in their udders, just like, any mammal. After they've given birth, they need to feed their baby, and that's what they do. We're the only species on Earth that drinks milk from another mammal that's not a human. Which, a lot of people will say that, therefore, it is imperative that we stop this practice, and that there's all kinds of things in milk, including hormones. And yes, there are some hormones in there. But let's not go so much with the hormone profile, because if you are consuming any kind of dairy products, it is my hope that you are looking at the source of where this dairy product came from. You need to make sure that you're getting it from a clean animal. It's been organically fed and humanely, because animals who are confined and just treated like, a product are stressed out. And that stressed out stuff goes into their milk, by the way. Your cortisol glands secrete cortisone. And that is the stress hormone. This is the hormone that surges in you that you have to pick up a car off of a baby or something. You've all heard the stories of super, natural acts that have happened from mothers who saw a child in distress and had to, do something in order to get that child out. So that is what happens with all mammals. We all have adrenal glands. We all have the stress hormone, some of us raging in our bodies. Other people just, it happens on occasion when we need it. But when you are in a constant stressful environment, it will affect the animal, and it will affect the quality of their meat, their milk, and even their eggs. So we have to look at that. That's easy to figure out, right? So when she says, though, when I'm reading through here, Carrie, when I'm reading through this and I see how much milk you're eating, and I eat a lot of dairy products for protein, I would like to see you shift from eating so many dairy products for protein and eating more. You didn't say you're a vegetarian, but I would really urge you to eat wild caught fish, number one. First of all, because of the stress and the anxiety that you're having, your brain could use it. I would also encourage you to take an omega-3 fatty acid. We have a Biomax 3 times, which is a fish oil that is, has unbelievable studies behind it. Fish oil is so overlooked, and omega-3, we get plenty of omega-6s, we get plenty of omega-9s just in the everyday food that we eat. Omega-3s are difficult to get unless you make a concerted effort to be eating omega-3 fatty acids. And you get some in a little chia seeds, you get some in some flax seeds, but where the real source of that is in fatty fish, fatty wild fish. And make sure when you're eating your salmon, you're eating wild salmon. Don't eat the farm-raised stuff. The farm-raised stuff, the fat isn't nearly as good. They have to dye it pink because it's a gray, nasty color. And the kind of conditions that some of these fish live in, not every fish farmer is the same. But, again, it's a confined operating system that they have to raise as many animals or as many fish in as small amount of space as possible in order to get them to market as quickly as they can. That's their product. So we need to look at that. Fat is not the enemy. Bad fat is the enemy. And our brains necessarily need really, really good fat. Omega-3 fatty acids. We also need butter. That's a butyric acid. Butyric acid is brain food. It's 100% brain food. All these different things feed our brains. And if it feeds our brains, it feeds our hearts. And for men, that means it feeds their man parts. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry, I had to go there. But it's a circulatory thing. And what fat helps with all of that. It helps with all of that. So let's kind of steer the boat away from so much dairy and listen to your doctor. Give it 30 days of no dairy and see if your anxiety doesn't improve. See if you can't start doing some things that are a little bit more, that are better for you. Bivalves are another thing that are, and this is mussels and clams and all of that. Those are really high in omega-3 fatty acids. Again, wild, look at the source. Remember, you eat what you ate. Get that? So if you're eating something that's eaten a bunch of crap, you're going to be eating it too. You want to make sure you're eating, the things that you're eating are clean. Question your food. Your food needs to come from a clean source. End of story. We can argue about that all day long, but end of story. That's just the way it is. And I'm going to share with you a little bit later how to do it on a budget, because I have a question about that too. So what we're always looking at, Kimmy, I wouldn't do raw oysters. Too many people have gotten sick. I'd eat them cooked. You know what? I just read an article on them, and somebody died from eating raw oysters. You can't tell if there's bad stuff in it. And with warmer oceans and different, farming practices. And by the way, farmed oysters are fine. Just cook them. I'm just not about eating raw oysters anymore. There's just been too many problems with that and too many people getting sick. Sadly. I used to eat them all the time. So, let's see, where was I with that? So what we're looking at then, Carrie, is for everybody, for optimal health, we need to eat a wide variety of vegetables, okay? Wide variety. And for you who are, because you're underweight, I would add things like sweet potatoes and carrots. I would add different colors of the rainbow and be very specific when you do that, and make sure you don't have to work so hard on, being low carb like maybe a lot of us do, but you need to be looking at how many vegetables can I get onto my plate. I would eat 2 cooked vegetables like a broccoli and eat maybe a sweet potato. There's your green, there's your orange right there. Look at those colors, and a salad to go with it. Maybe a cup of bone broth as well. And then you've got lots of fiber there. I would add a baked potato even. I would add a piece of protein and maybe put a little bit of butter on it. But what we're looking at is always the target trifecta for every single person under the sun, because this feeds our operating system. And whether or not you're sick, or you have body clutter, or you have, issues, chronic issues that you're working through, or whether you're healthy or underweight or whatever, it's not always just about body clutter. Body clutter is just a symptom of other things that are going on. So you just need to make sure you've got the target trifecta working on your plate every single time. That means you've got fat, fiber, and protein. Those 3 things, always. Everybody needs that. If you're dealing with body clutter, you know what that means. You know how we eat for that. If you're not dealing with body clutter, then you can add some good complex carbohydrates in there that are going to be good for you, that you really do need. Again, this is why we look at everybody individually. We don't make blanket statements about nutrition or one way of eating. We make statements of eating whole food. That's the only rule that we hold true. And from there, you start figuring out what your magic key is. Remember what I said? I think Tuesday or whatever. We all have a key to our front door, and my key's not going to fit in your door any better than your key is going to fit in mine. This is how we get into our own houses, our own very personal houses. So that's what I would suggest. And I have just this big feeling, just based on what you said, that you probably have a sensitivity to dairy. So let's pull it back. And you know what? Actually, there is some cases where food sensitivity brings on anxiety, brings on stress. So, that puts your body in a stressful mode, like we talked about earlier. So let's back out of the dairy, give it 30 days, and let me know how you're doing. Okay? Okay, here's another one. Aw, Marla, I hope you're here. This is from Susie. Hi, Leanne. Your amazing friendship with Marla has really been an inspiration for all of us. I have prayed to find a friend to share the daily ups and downs of my life with. So far, I haven't had success. I volunteer at the local children's hospital, but would love a good friend to do the sprint with or walk with, cook with, etc. It seems that nowadays texting and email have taken the place of one-time friends. I'm feeling sad. Any ideas for us, those of us without a good friend? This is from Susie. Okay, yes. Yeah, I mean, let's just say there is a lot of texting and social media and what have you to deal with to replace the coffee clutch even. And we are fortunate to have such a vibrant group that we have in both, the Saving Dinner and the Fly Lady communities, and, even into our smaller groups of the Sprint, and then even smaller, the Hot Melt Diet. It's fantastic. And, we all need that. But we needed someone with skin on too. I understand that. And Marla said it so well. And she said, to be a friend, you have to be a friend. To get a friend, you need to be a friend. And that is so true. That's true for all of us. And what you're doing, volunteering at the local children's hospital, is great. But what you should be doing too is looking for a place where there are women your same age with maybe a same interest. And that's where you go. That's where you go to find a friend. So yes, volunteer and do all of these things. That's fantastic. But also take a look. Like if you're a knitter, find a knitting group. Go to a store and find a group of women who get together and knit. I'm going to tell you, you will find them. Take a look at the meetup. If you go to meetup.com, you can type in your zip code and find your interests, and you can find a group of people that have your same interests. But what I know is this, is that when I want something to happen in my life, when I find something in my life that there's a missing piece, I actively go off after finding that thing that I miss, and I will tell you, I had the same thing. I really, really, on that plane ride home from Asheville to Denver, I had this real thing in my heart, like, oh man, I was just with Marla for these last few days. I really miss my friend. And at this stage in my life, I could make decisions based on what it was that I wanted. I didn't have to worry about my children. I didn't have to worry about, I didn't have any big roots anywhere. And so, obviously I had Mark and I had to talk to him about it. But you can make shifts in your life to reflect the things that you want in it. And I knew that I was always going to have Marla's friendship, but I wanted it more. I wanted her with the skin on and not just the text message, I wanted to know that we'd have an opportunity to get together, and we do. We get together every Wednesday night and have dinner. We go and have girl time, and if I said to her, hey, I need you to do this with me, she would drop everything and do it. And she knows I do the same thing for her. That's what having a friend is about. And you want that kind of friend, then start putting it in to your intentions, start speaking about it, start researching and finding places where people, like-minded people, are around. Meetup is one of the best places to do. And I will tell you that there's somebody out there right now who's looking for you. And one more thing, there is an online app, and it's a dating app. Now don't freak out. It's called Bumble. Now, the only reason I know about this is because Mark's daughter Leah met her significant other through Bumble. And she also has a girlfriend who moved from New York with her, who found a bunch of friends to hang out with on Bumble too. Because Bumble also has an app, a part of their app, where it's friends seeking friends. So take a look at that, because this is where we all are right now. Once upon a time you met somebody just randomly, or you found out about them. nowadays we have to be very intentional to go find friends, to find a significant. Mark and I met online. We met on a dating site. I'm not going to lie, because that's how you meet people these days. You don't just run into people anymore. You don't just go and hang out all day at Whole Foods, squeezing cantaloupes, hoping that some cute guy's going to walk in. Or you don't, sit in the park and twiddle your thumbs and just say, I hope I can meet a friend here. We have to be very intentional about it. So that's my advice to you. Be intentional. Go make friends and find people that have the same interests that you do. Marla and I have almost all the same interests. We have some that are different. We have some point of views that are different, and we just stay away from them. We don't argue them. We can talk about them, and we respect each other. And that's the basics of everything, is respecting one another. You make friends by being a friend first, always. But if you want to be a friend, then you need to put yourself in friendship's way and go find people that you can hang out with. And you will find that person, I promise. So I wish you the best, Susie, and you will find your Marla too. Okay. Now, Bobby, I just saw you came on, Bobby. You didn't miss a thing. I've got your answers right here. Bob, this is from Bobby. She said, I watched your bone broth video. Could you discuss the importance of the bones being from grass-fed cattle or free-range chicken bones? Yes, free-range organic chicken bones. Yes, I can. So here's the thing. I just said a little bit earlier, and I will talk about this now, is that you eat what the animal ate. Oh, somebody figure that out. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you're eating their food secondhand. Whatever's going into them, what other kind of stress they've had. This is why we go for the grass-fed meat. This is why we go for the wild fish. And if you look at the nutrient, the difference between a CAFO cow and you look at the difference between a grass-fed cow, you're going to get things in there that you haven't had, that you're not going to get. You're not going to get the inflammation that's common in like supermarket beef. You're going to get clean animals when you go with grass-fed. Mark and I were just discussing this because we've been finding, living here in Brevard, there is, the options are a little bit less. We have to go to Asheville for some of them. And even still, it's not like, it's like food Disneyland in Boulder. You can get anything there. And there's farmers on the outskirts and everything. So that was the one thing that was really cool. But there's farmers here. And as a matter of fact, as you drive up to our house, and listen, coming up to our house is no picnic. There's some gravel roads involved and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to go talk to a neighbor. There's what is the website called? localharvest.org. And you can find local to you people who are raising animals that are eventually going to be food, that are raising them right. And you can find them. You can buy a quarter of a cow or whatever. And that's one of the things that we're going to do. We want to buy half a cow. We've got a big freezer downstairs and we want to fill it up. And it's good stuff for you. This is where, there's omega-3 fatty acids that's involved in a grass-fed cow. You're not going to get that in supermarket meat. There is ALA, that's alpha linoleic acid. You're not going to get that in supermarket meat. There's a lot of nutrients that are there that aren't there in supermarket meat, and it's anti-inflammatory, and supermarket meat can be inflammatory. So if you do supermarket meat, you go lean, because most of the inflammation lives in the fat. Go lean, okay? And then add your fat otherwise somewhere else. So that's one of my, tips on how to, keep things clean, and also how to, watch the budget. So, yes, it's important to do that. And when you're making your bone broth, I will tell you 3,000 times that I never measure anything. All you need to do is whatever vessel you're cooking in is in, and if it's an instant pot or a crock pot or whatever, just respect the boundaries. That's it, and throw in many bones as you have. I take a cooked carcass and throw it in there, and then we add chicken feet. Oh yeah, we do the feet. So the feet are all up like this, and it's not the prettiest thing. The first time I did it, I was horrified, but then I got over myself, and I thought, at least these aren't going to waste, and the collagen in them is ridiculous, and I've got this wonderful jiggly broth. So my recipe is this: I throw in a pot. I have about a third of it is filled with bones. And it's usually a collection. We keep our bones as we're eating a whole chicken. And what we also do is we have the chicken feet that I told you, right? So we put that in first, then add the water, and not all the way up. Then you add an onion, carrot, and celery. And here's the ratio. You want the celery and carrot, you want 2-to-1 on the onion and the carrot and the celery. Okay, that's the ratio. We add fresh thyme, and I buy thyme, throw in the fresh thyme, throw in the fresh rosemary, throw in a bay leaf, throw in some pink Himalayan salt or whatever kind of salt that you're using. And then also you're going to want to put in a little bit of apple cider vinegar, about a tablespoon. And that's going to pull out all the minerals that are residing there in the bones. Pour the water to the top. Now I'm doing mine in my Instant Pot. It takes 2 hours to do. Marla was talking today how she's just tired of smelling that smell. That's why I started doing it in an Instant Pot. I get the same results, and I do it in 2 hours, and I'm not smelling it. Because I got to the point where it's just like, can I even make bone broth anymore? I started making it in my garage just because I didn't want to smell it for 2 days. You need that kind of time in a crock pot for 2 days so that you can those minerals will come out of the bones. And Bobby's just saying she forgot the vinegar. Still, you'll get the full benefit of all that collagen, the L-glutamine and everything else, the glycine that's in there, all of them come out of the bones when you're using the vinegar. Okay, you're going to get most of them out, but we're going to go for every last bit of it. So that's what you need to be concerned about. She also asked, how important is the Dirty Dozen list? Well, you can find, by the way, I'm going to talk about the Dirty Dozen list. There's the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen list. So the Clean 15 is stuff that you don't have to buy organic. The Dirty Dozen list is stuff that is highly recommended by buying organic, okay? And if you want to find these lists, they're updated every single year because agricultural practices change, and this is the Environmental Working Group, and they keep track of it. And their lists change every year, except I've never seen apples come off the list ever for that. It's a Dirty Dozen, so make sure you're buying your kids organic apples. That's a biggie. So what you're looking at then is you can go to ewg.org. That's where you'll find the Environmental Working Groups lists for the Clean 15 and for the Dirty Dozen. Okay? Now, how important is it? Well, it's as important as anything because remember, whatever is sprayed, it's not just a pesticide that can get rinsed off. Understand that these are farmers who are paying big money to make sure that pesticide is working, and that a lot of times it's systemic. It's in the fruit and vegetable itself, right? Val, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. So you want more onion than carrot, the 2-to-1 ratio. So what you need to do is you have to make sure that you're eating as clean as possible. Your average apple has about 37 pesticides on it. And then there's herbicides, rodenticides, fungicides. There's gassing so that it'll ripen faster. There's all kinds of things going on. And then remember that a lot of this produce is stored. And it's stored in cold storage so that it can be available all times of the year. So, And then it's hybridized, and so some of it has more sugar than others. So these are all the things that we need to start thinking about, like where does our food come from, and where is the cleanest and best value that I can get for my food. So there it is. Okay. How to eat healthy on a tight budget, such as the T-bone, slice it into 3 meals and make broth for the bones for 3 days, blah, blah, blah. If that's even a good idea. I'd love more ideas. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so here's what you need to know. Rubber chicken is one of my biggest recipes, and this was my mother, her mother taught her how to do this. And it's basically roast a whole chicken, okay? Roast a whole big organic chicken. Yeah, you pay the bucks for them. But roast a whole organic chicken. And you have a ton of vegetables on the side and different things on the side, so that you're not just, pigging out on the whole chicken there. And if obviously, if you have a family of 6, you're going to want a bit more than one chicken. And then from there, you put the leftover chicken in the refrigerator, pick it all off, and then make something else with it. Make a salad for you, make burritos for the kids, whatever it is, but make it into another meal. And then you've got that bony carcass left. By all means, make that into bone broth, or save it in the freezer if you can't. I have a freezer bag with all of my bones in it, and it looks like, skeletal remains. I mean, CSI would have a good time in there, right? It's just like, well, what happened here? But this is what we do. That organic food isn't cheap, but it can be stretched. It can be stretched, and you can make more things out of it. I will give you lots of examples here on how to do it. First of all, saving a dollar here and a dollar there adds up, and it adds up to your grocery list. And when you are really intent on eating whole foods, and when you are really intent on eating stuff that's clean, organic, and all that, then you need to make sure that you have a plan in place. And your plan in place isn't necessarily just like I give you menus, recipes, shopping lists every week, right? So here is what you need to look at. You need to also ignore me. If there's a sale, buy one, get one free on broccoli, then do buy one, get one free on broccoli, and forget the asparagus suggestion that I had in my menu. It's, we're just going to swap things out. Swap things out for what's available. Go to the farmer's market and go check it out and see what's available. Now, let me just tell you something. My Boulder farmer's market, ridiculously overpriced and expensive. We rarely walked out of there with food. We'd buy the seconds in tomatoes. We'd buy a case of those because they were, inexpensive, and rescue a lot of them and eat them, and then make sauce out of the rest of them. That's how we did it. But when you got a whole head of kale and they're charging you $8, no. But here in Brevard, there's organic farmers market, fantastic stuff, great prices. And I'm all over that farmer's market. It's fantastic. So you can find things like that. And if you go to localharvest.org, a lot of times there's these CSA boxes, and you can buy a share in a community. Their community, what is it called? Community Sustainable Agriculture. And you can buy a share, like, $200 for the year. And every week you go and you pick up a box of organic produce that's fresh from that farm. There's tons of them. They're everywhere. They're all over the United States, probably into Canada as well. But localharvest.org, is for Americans. That's what we have. But that's a really good place to find it. Local farmers for your meat, local farmers for your eggs. Ask them what they're feeding their animals to see what's going on with them. You can save some money. And then also just watch the ads. When we get the ads in those little ads, I used to just immediately drop them like they were hot right into the recycle bin. Now we look through them. Is there something in there that I want? Last week there was buy one, get one free. Those tubs of organic spinach. Why wouldn't I say no to that? If I hadn't seen that, I wouldn't have known about it. So I took advantage. And you should see how many greens we have now. And now it's a big race to eat them. And if I have any that are going to start to go bad or what have you, I will take them, I'll put them in a bag, put them in a freezer, and it will go into a smoothie, or it will go into a soup, or it will go into something, because I will not waste food. And speaking of that, even when I get kale or some kind like chard or whatever, and you've got those long stems and they're really rough and, nobody wants to eat that, right? We want to eat the tender leaves. So eat those tender leaves. Save the stalks though. Save the stalks, throw them in the freezer, chop them up and saute them up with some onions. Nobody's going to know that they're there for whatever you're eating. Nobody's ever going to know that they're there. You're adding extra fiber into whatever it is that you're cooking, and you're not wasting that glorious organic food. We do this all the time. We found a grocery outlet too that's right here in town. And for Mark, that's like going to Disneyland. I'm telling you, the guy gets lost for hours. Sometimes I'll say, hey, where are you? He said, oh, I'm at the grocery outlet. I'm like, come home. It's dinner time. And he's in there getting things. But he finds things. We got 18 eggs for $1.50. Organic, cage-free eggs. Wow. So we bought those. We bought up a bunch of eggs from there. There are deals. You got to find them. It's mining for gold is what it is. It's mining for gold. So keep mining and keep looking. If you find that fish, that wild fish that's gone down, I will never pay retail for wild salmon. I have a freezer full downstairs of salmon that was on sale for $7.99 a pound. Tons of it. Why pay retail when you can pay it less? So stock your freezer. This is a version of stocking your 21st century pantry. Always have things that are organic and on sale. Go to the grocery store early and see if there's markdowns. I buy all the markdown chicken. And we were in Ingalls, I think it was, and they had markdown organic chickens. Guess what went into my cart? All those markdowns went into my cart. Of course they did. I'm going to take advantage of that. I will buy the markdowns. It's going to expire in a couple of days. My freezer's going to hold it for a year. So there you go. That's how it works. If you don't have a big city, you can still do it. I'm living in Brevard. It's a tiny little city. We're still doing it. And sometimes it's worth throw a cooler in the back and just go to the big city and just go get it done. That's what we do with Trader Joe's. That's what we do when we go to Earth Fair, which is it's like Whole Foods, but I think it's better. So, all right, I'm going to talk quickly now because we have, that's the end of our Q&A. If you have questions you want answered on a Friday, I'm happy to do that. That's what I do. I love answering your questions. I want to help steer your boat, getting you into that place of understanding that it's a myth that you can't eat healthy. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. And even if you can't go all the way organic, all the way grass-fed or whatever, you can still eat healthy. I had somebody who just like, well, it's just too expensive. I can't do it. And yet they've got a cart full of stuff that's just not even considered food. And, at this point, they still haven't had any nutrition. And then I know how much it costs for insulin. I watch TV. I know how much it costs. I've had people email me and telling me about it. It's not cheap. So let's keep it real on what the truth is about healthy foods. So today, obviously we want to have fun. The weekend's here. It's coming up and we've got things planned and what have you. But we can always have a place of falling down and falling into a hole and forgetting about what we just accomplished with the sprint and what we are accomplishing now in the hot melt diet. This is something that I think is really important, is making ourselves fail-safe and becoming fail-safe. Now, there's a mindset that's around being fail-safe. And first of all, I have to read because I was looking at, should be fail-proof or whatever, because I was thinking, what is the thing? Because I've done it, and I speak from my experience. I speak from my experience of overdoing it on the weekends, going off the rails, having too much food, too much wine, too much frivolity, and then getting on the scale on Monday and saying, oh, what have I done? And spending the whole week dealing with what I did on the weekends. That's crazy town. So how do you become fail-safe without losing the fun of the weekend? And there's several things that you can do. But before I do that, listen to what the definition for fail-safe is. You're going to love it. Fail-safe is incorporating a feature for automatically counteracting the effect of anticipated possible source of failure. I'm going to say that again. It's incorporating a feature for automatically counteracting the effect of an anticipated possible source of failure. Wow, that's amazing, right? So what feature can we add? And so that's what I want to talk to you about, the feature. So it's Feature Friday. These are the things that we want to put in place so that we're not going to go and find ourselves in a restaurant strapping on the feed bag and then living with all of that regret later. Okay, and here's a couple of things that you can do. Number one, if you have, like for today, I'll give you one. I was hungry. I woke up hungry today. I thought, what is that about? I don't want to be hungry. I want to be fasting. This is what I want to do. I want to be fasting today. So start with number one, your first feature. Number one is drink a glass of water. Give it 15 minutes. You can do anything for 15 minutes, by the way. I know a very wise woman who taught me that a long time ago. You can do anything for 15 minutes, including not eat, including living with a little hunger pains, unless you're going to fall over and pass out and, have low blood sugar. You know who you are. If that's you, if that's your medical condition or whatever, okay, then, do it the way you need to do it. Ignore what I'm saying. But for the rest of us, take it 15 minutes, glass of water. Now, still hungry? Then, where's my thing? I guess I took it downstairs. Have a cup of bone broth. Just prepare a cup of bone broth. I take my bone broth, I heat it up, I put a shot of sriracha, I put a pinch of pink salt in it, and I take a squeeze of lime. I take a squeeze of lime that just makes it taste so delicious. It's wonderful, and it doesn't break your fast. We're talking about 30 calories here. It doesn't break your fast. Unless you're insanely insulin or sugar sensitive, but there's no sugar, almost nothing in there. Joanne, I would disagree with you. I don't think Gatorade is good. Gatorade has a lot of fake stuff in it, no matter how you slice it. So we want to get away from that. What we're trying to do is hydrate with real water. And if we need to, if you're on the sprint and you need to go go to the hydration spot, get these. These are Nuns. You see how it says hydration on the side? There it is. Nuns Hydration. You can find this at any box store, and they have a little dextrose in it, which I'm not really fond of, but this is an emergency thing in case you need to hydrate quickly. If you're going through keto, low carb flu, and it's just you feel, the malaise that you feel with that and all that, then, you've got that as a backup option. But your fail-safe feature is to start when you can start with the water and then move to the bone broth. And then if you're still truly hungry, now time has passed now, right? So guess what? Here it is. It's almost 2 o'clock our time, 10 till. I haven't had anything to eat today. I've had a cup of bone broth and I had the water and I had, and so it's easy to keep fasting when you're doing this kind of thing. And then I plan on breaking my fast with a trifecta, the Target trifecta smoothie. And you've got oh, by the way, stop me. It's back in stock, you guys. Go grab it. All of our supplements are finally back in stock. There might be 1 or 2 that are missing, but grab it. Oh, and I almost forgot. We have a brand new supplement that I was supposed to tell you about. I almost forgot. The brand new supplement is called InflaCrush. And the InflaCrusher. An InflaCrusher is an inflammation type of a crusher. It's made with curcumin, 100% curcumin. Now, the difference between this and all the other stuff that you see, available that you can buy anywhere, and there's curcumin supplements for days because one of the most researched supplements today and compounds, anti-inflammatory compounds, is curcumin. You know what the problem with curcumin is? The problem with curcumin is that it's hard to get into your body. The bioavailability is tough. Most people will drink it and pee it right back out or poop it out or whatever. There could be some stomach upset with it. And even if you add a little black pepper, which is one of the things that people do in order to activate the curcumin, it comes from the turmeric root, it's still not enough. So we have a special on this particular turmeric, curcumin, which has 7 times the efficacy of anything you're going to find out on the market. It has a special proprietary way of making it that much more bioavailable. And you need 1 capsule. 1. And this stuff is crazy. It's not even on our shopping cart right now. I'd have to tell you how to get there. And I think it's, I don't even know. How do I get there? I think it's Crush. But it's savingdinner.com/crush. And you'll find the supplement there. We have a very limited supply. I want to see what you guys do with this. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not cheap. But the technology behind it, no, it has no hormones. Curcumin doesn't have hormones. The technology behind it and the science behind it, all the science studies that have been done on this particular type of curcumin is crazy. And take a look at this. If you're dealing with insulin resistance, weight loss resistance, if you have an autoimmune disease, you have out of control, any kind of inflammation, Alzheimer's and cancer even, take a look at this stuff because it's unbelievable. And I've ordered a bottle for me and for Marla. Yes, Marla, you're going to be taking this. One more supplement. But this stuff is just unbelievable. If you want it, you need to go to savingdinner.com/crush and you will find it there. And I'm going to double check and make sure that that's where it is. I'm pretty sure that's where it is because we're just trying to keep it easy so you have a place to go and you can find it. But yeah, pretty sure that's where it is. Isn't that terrible? I can't tell you where it is. Supplements, there it is. Can you believe it? It is a pill. It is not a pill. No, it's a capsule. And that's the other thing too. One of the things I really despise about a lot of supplements that are out there is they have an eneric coating and, that's not good. Okay, Tracy tells me it works. Thank you so much. You will find it there. When you have an eneric coating, that's great because it's going to hold on and, it's going to hold on and it's going to, go through the digestive process. However, if it doesn't break down into the small intestine where it's absorbed up, you are going to poop it out whole. And we've seen this before. Marla and I have a doctor friend of ours who told us about a patient of his who had a Porta-John business. And he would empty it, and Dr. Neal was talking to him and he said, look, I know these are more expensive supplements. I know, because people would push up against him and say, oh, it's so expensive. And he'd say, you have to understand, batch tested, pharmaceutical grade, this stuff, efficacy in every single batch. This is not your base. This is like made in labs, not some factory where they're sweeping up the stuff off the floor and putting it into a capsule, in some foreign land. This is not how it is. This is super clean, all of that. And the guy said, no, let me stop you right now. Let me tell you a story. And he said, do you know, I have seen, because I emptied a lot of Porta-Johns and I know what comes out of them. And I see whole supplements. I can see the name on the side of the supplement. I can see the name on the side of the supplement. In other words, they didn't digest. They came out whole. So where you're really spending a lot of money is you're spending a lot of money on stuff that doesn't digest, that just comes right out of you, that's poor quality, not batch tested, not pharmaceutical grade, and not clean. So remember, you get what you pay for. And at some point, our prices will come down when we can order big enough batches. And I promise you, I will pass that on to you. But if you want this, now is the time to get it. The email for this is going out to my list today. It'll be gone over the weekend. We've got just a few of these. But if you have inflammation, you want to take it down, this will work. And speaking of which, We're going to talk about this next week because I want to get you into the target trifecta zone, dealing with your plate and your smoothie, because the target trifecta has your best interests in mind and is going to help you to go longer between meals and help train you for when you're out and about. And on this weekend, this is the feature that you need to have, is that start with the water, go with the bone broth, and when you're ready to break your fast, go with your target trifecta smoothie. Start there, okay? And then if you're going out to dinner or you're going someplace out, and you're just broken your fast, you're not going to strap that feed bag on. You're going to have some self-control. And if you're one of these persons that can do this and have a little bit of something without it totally pushing you into a binge, then do it. You have my blessing, as long as you're not on the sprint. You have my blessing. This much. Marla and I used to take a bite of cheesecake or whatever when we were out, and we would then throw our forks on the floor in a restaurant. Oh, yes, we would. We would. We'd put pepper and whatever on that to make sure that we weren't going to go back to eating that. We would take the one bite. But for me right now, and I know me, it's just, I don't need that one bite anymore. I've changed a lot in those years. We wrote Body Clutter in 2005, you guys. In 2005. That's when it came out originally, the original one that we self-published. Lots changed. We've gotten older. We've gotten wiser. Yes, we did. We picked them up. We weren't horrible, rude people, but we'd throw them on the floor on purpose just so we knew we wouldn't use them again. And we knew we wouldn't use our fingers, and we knew we wouldn't touch it if there was like peppers put all over it. Our waiters would come by horrified, like, what are you doing? We're like, safety measures, people, safety measures. So that's your feature on becoming fail-safe, is when you have something, a couple of features that you can implement before you go to a place where this has been your downfall before. And this is, on the weekends, this is what happens, right? So do that. You don't want a restaurant to be a source of failure where you're going to feel awful afterwards. You can walk in there with your head held high with a plan, because you've already also looked at the menu, and you're not going to go off the rails again with something crazy, ordering pasta or deep fried fill in the blank or anything crazy like that. Like, remember I told you about my deep fried chicken pimento cheese sandwich? That 5 pounds. 5 pounds of inflammation. You don't need to do that. You know what to do. You could get your mindset on what it is. And then when you walk out of that restaurant, instead of thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that, you can say, I am triumphant. I am walking out of this restaurant because I used my plan. I did all my little features, my fail-safe features before I walked in there. And I wasn't, Marla does a mini smoothie. That's the other thing. I'll show you how to do that next week. But here's the thing. If you're in the sprint group, if you are a part of the Hot Melt Diet group as well, that's another group that we have. If you haven't buddied up with somebody in there, buddy up now. Find that one person that you can text with and say, you know what? Not feeling it today. I know I should do this. I know I should do that, but I just don't want to. I just want to go run to the grocery store and go get tons of, go buy some Pringles or something else. We're all like that, Food is a comfort, and food is also a necessity. And there are people who eat for comfort, and there are people who eat just necessarily because they have to. And I believe that there's a middle ground there, because I love food, and I created a foodie for a daughter. She makes me look just, sad. She's amazing. And a food creator and a food photographer and recipe creator. That's her business. That's what she does now for all kinds of people. And she just got her first book contract, as a matter of fact, for a friend of mine who's doing something. So I'm very proud of her. But, you can be a foodie without being an over-the-top foodie, without being somebody who is just ready to throw it all away. you can eat well and you can enjoy things again. It's not like everything is off the table. Things may have shifted a little bit. You know your limits of what you can and cannot do. And that's the way you need to start living your life. We all need rules. There's only one place that I know that, you can drive like a maniac and not get in trouble. And that's the Autobahn in Germany. That's what on Mark's bucket list. And that probably doesn't surprise you, Marla. You've driven with him. And I told him he will be doing that all by himself because I will not go on the Autobahn. That is not fun. So this weekend, as you go out, remember you can become fail safe. You can become fail safe. Walking into a restaurant does not have to be your downfall. Walking into a restaurant doesn't mean that you're going to pick the things that you used to pick anymore off a menu. You know what a Target trifecta plate looks like, and you know what you're trying to accomplish for your body. So keep that in mind and get yourself a body clutter buddy. All right? I will see you tomorrow, and I appreciate your time, and I thank you. And if you want our newest Infla Crusher, just go to savingdinners.com/crush. Grab it now. Very limited supply, and it's free shipping. At least for now it is. Free shipping. So grab it. I'll talk to you later. Oh, and it's also on a discount, right? It's an introductory discount, $5 off. See you later. Bye-bye.